Hi guys, the earth looked very different at the beginning of life on it. Well, even life looked very different than it does today. There were no plants and animals but just tiny microorganisms. The most startling difference between them and now was in the air. The air did not contain a sufficient amount of oxygen for organisms to breathe freely. The respiratory system that they developed at this time did not rely on breathing air but on the nutrients available in its surroundings. Such kind of respiration that takes place in the absence of oxygen is called anaerobic respiration. In anaerobic respiration, glucose obtained by breaking down nutrients from the organism's surroundings is partially oxidized. It produces energy, carbon dioxide, and alcohol or lactic acid. The total production of energy was just sufficient for the new and adapting life at this point. Fast forwarding lakhs of years, there was a change in both the air and the organisms that called Earth home. The air developed to have a sufficient amount of oxygen in its composition. Organisms also evolved from unicellular beings to being more complex and developed organisms that needed more energy than anaerobic respiration provided. Organisms adapted to respire by breathing in oxygen from the air. Respiration that takes place in the presence of oxygen is called aerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration, glucose obtained from the digestion of food consumed by the organisms is completely oxidized. It produces energy, carbon dioxide, and water. Not only was this convenient, but it also provided a way more energy than anaerobic respiration provided. While most life today breathes aerobically by breathing in oxygen from the air, there are microorganisms like yeast and lactobacillus that breathe anaerobically. They are the heroes behind the process of fermentation that give us products like curd and wine. Even the muscles in our own body breathe anaerobically. When we engage in strenuous activities like running or lifting something heavy, our body needs additional energy. The level of oxygen intake is increased by breathing heavily, but even that falls short of supply to the cells for the breakdown of glucose. That's when the body resorts to breaking down the glucose in the cell into lactic acid. Lactic acid is harmful to the body and causes us to experience cramps and body pain. That's why athletes have to be careful about exerting themselves too much and take breaks to catch their breath. Aerobic and anaerobic respiration are proof that nature will always find a way to flourish.